comrades, and welcome back to Ushanka Show. Здравствуйте, дорогие товарищи. В эфире программа Ushanka Show. My name is Sergey, and almost 50 years ago, in July of 1971, I was born in the USSR. Меня зовут Сергей, и 50 лет тому назад я родился в Советском Союзе. So today's video gonna be kinda complicated. We're going to talk about the war in Afghanistan, not the current one, but the one that happened from 1979 all the way till 1989 for 10 years and costed Soviet Union 15,000 dead and over 53,000 wounded Soviet soldiers. We're going to talk about sanctions. First of all, Jimmy Carter's sanctions against the USSR and how that affected the Soviet Union. And maybe, just maybe, we will be able to move closer to the answer why did the Soviet Union collapse. So once again, we'll be talking about Anatoly Chernomyrdin and his diaries. Anatoly Chernomyrdin was born in 1921 in Moscow. He fought in World War II. He became member of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union in 1942. He finished Moscow State University and eventually became a major in historical science. For many years, Anatoly Chernomyrdin worked in the upper echelons of the Soviet government. Since 1961, he worked at the International Department of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. Later, he became, in 1976, a member of the Central Revision Commission. I'm not sure if I'm correctly translating that, but it's like an oversight committee, once again, of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. And since 1981, he was a candidate to be a member of the Central Committee. And during all these years, he kept a diary. And we have this expression in Russian language, it's called «писать в стол». So you can translate as to write into the drawer, into your desk. So he never had like ambition or hopes to publish his diaries. He just wanted to write down what was going on. But eventually his diaries got published, and we're going to look at those today. So we're going to take a look at his entry from January 28 of 1980. So that's about a month after Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan. А в мире происходит черт знает что. The whole hell broke loose in the world. The whole world condemned us. In United Nations, 104 delegations voted against us and only 17 with us. And then they said the word фарисейство. I'm not sure how to translate in English, so that's the expression from Bible, I believe, the Pharisees. Anyway. Но мы бросили хорошую лакмусовую бумажку. So we performed some kind of litmus test and discovered how much hate goes towards us. We were condemned by governments and parliaments, by different activist parties and labor unions, even some friendly parties, and here he mentioned some IKP, KPI, KPV, so there's communist parties of different countries, Japanese, Belgians, and Swedes. They condemned us for aggression, for breaking all the international norms, for occupation, for подрыв разрядки. So Brezhnev was a big proponent of разрядка, so like disarmament, and here he kind of did opposite way, for provocation of the arms race, for attacking Muslim world, blah, 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 blah. So he's making a list of all the complaints that were expressed towards the Soviet Union after his aggression in Afghanistan. Okay, here is something very interesting. So he says, yes, of course, было бы второе Чили или не было бы. So he's talking, would Afghanistan will become a second Chile? If you remember, when President Allende was assassinated and Pinochet took over Chile. So they thought that this is possibility was going to happen in Afghanistan, second Chile. And he says, would it happen or not? No one could tell it right now. And then he adds, it's very interesting, by the way, us in the international department made up that argument. So the whole talking point, we didn't want Afghanistan to become the second Chile, was made up in the International Department of Communist Party of the Soviet Union. Then Anatoly continues, the horror of the situation is that the final decision belonged to the complete senile person. He says, polny marasmatic. So he talks about Brezhnev being pretty much not capable of thinking straight, although that decision was prepared and cooked by other people, but it was signed by Brezhnev. So now to the part of the sanctions. Carter лишил нас 17 миллионов тонн зерна. So Jimmy Carter took away from us 17 million tons of grains. And in Moscow, almost instantly, the flour and macaroni products disappeared. I think it probably was more panic. So when Soviet citizens heard the news that America stopped export of grain to the Soviet Union, everyone just rushed to the stores to buy flour and spaghetti and other wheat products. Actually, I'll be curious to find out your opinion about that situation when Jimmy Carter hurt American farmers by imposing sanctions on the grain exports to the Soviet Union. Carter also canceled all other exports. He stopped any visits or negotiations and demanded cancellation of Olympics. Remember, Olympics of 1980 in Moscow still happened, but it was boycotted by the United States and many other countries. Then he says, Thatcher did exactly the same thing to us. So Margaret Thatcher from Great Britain joined Jimmy Carter with sanctions. Portugal banned us from fishing in their 200-mile zone, as well as United States at their area, lowering our quota for fishing from 450,000 ton to 75,000 ton. The same was done by Canada and Australia. It's very interesting. I never heard all those things. Almost all countries of the West, except France, stopped any visits or exchanges with us. Australia forbidden our ships heading for Antarctica to stop at their ports. And now, extremely important part, so please listen carefully. He says, банки закрыли нам кредиты, so banks stopped our financing. I talked by accident with second in command of the state bank, Ivanov, and he said that not only American banks, but all other banks refused to give any, issue any new debt. And it's, listen to this, so they refused to loan the money to pay off old debts. So banks refused to give money to pay off old debts. So the Soviet Union had debts that they were paying off by borrowing more money. So, you know, country is not doing great if you borrow money to pay your old debts. So he continues, so they refused to give loans to pay off old loans. And he adds, благодаря чему мы уже много лет выходили из положения. So because of possibility to borrow more, they pretty much like we saved our bacon for many years. So Soviet Union was borrowing to pay off old debts to get into new debt for many years. So they or refused to give new money or increase their interest rates by 30%, 1/3. So once again, this is 1980. This is when I thought Soviet Union was at its peak of its power, but in reality, it was like a broke as a joke expression, right? They were borrowing money to pay old debts and pretty much just doing that year after year. So this situation was reported to Центральный комитет, the Central Committee, And situation is such that we will have to cancel our prepayments for the current credits. And this is declaration of bankruptcy with the all consequences. So Soviet Union was on the brink of bankruptcy in 1980 after sanctions were applied. His next entry is from February 5th, 1980. And it says that Afghanistan, just like cancer, is destroying the mood of the societies, общественное сознание, and international life. There are rumors that in Tashkent, hospitals are packed with our wounded boys, and that every day there's airplanes arriving with coffins from Afghanistan. And in different departments that send their specialists to Afghanistan, you could see now portraits in, it's called tраурная рамка. So if somebody died, then the portrait will have a black frame, траурная рамка. So that means they sent someone to do some work like civilian in Afghanistan and he got killed there. So it says, so now people begin feeling the consequences of our policies. And for what? And why? And for who? So one of these co-workers mentioned that we can't allow to have a second Sadat under our back or behind our back. So they're talking about President Sadat of Egypt. So they don't want to have that happen in Afghanistan. And then he's just talking about that they started realizing what a big trouble they got themselves into by going to Afghanistan, and no one knew how to fix the problem. How untied is not. It said that someone wrote that if we can make an agreement that United States promised not to get involved in Afghanistan and the Soviet Union will remove its troops, and they said, do you think Americans will agree with that? He's like, sure they would, but I'm not sure if our government will agree to that. So, and they talk and complain about Brezhnev, that he's just getting this filtered information that everything is going well in Afghanistan, and so he doesn't know the truth. And he's the final kind of note here says, if right now we'll have a worldwide referendum, the prestige, so that's like the level of respect of the Soviet Union will be at its lowest mark in the whole 62 years of existence of the Soviet Union. So here you go, quite interesting insider information about what was going on in the upper echelons of the Soviet government in 1980, right after invasion of Afghanistan, how it affected our country. But personally, what I found the most amazing is the fact that Soviet Union was borrowing new money to pay off old debts, and they were talking about possibly like the whole country filing the bankruptcy by refusing to pay old debts. I think it's called default, not really bankruptcy, just because Western banks were refusing to provide new loans. So it kind of tells you, that yes, the Soviet elephant was big, but it was sick animal, and no wonder. So this is 1980. We have 11 years left, and the elephant gonna collapse and die. Well, comrades, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video, maybe learned something new, and I'm very curious to read your comments. I am looking forward, especially, I want to know more about Jimmy Carter, and I want to hear your opinion. Otherwise, we'll talk to you soon. До свидания. Goodbye. reminder that my book American Diaries is available on Amazon.com, or shoot me an email if you would like to have a signed copy. Thank you! And if you love my channel and would like to show your support, please click on the link below this video and become the patron of the Ushanka Show. For as little as $1, you can help us grow and create the new, interesting videos about the life in Soviet Union.